All right, Nick, as the 2023 NFL draft winds down, today is the last day. Today, surprisingly, is one of the days that the Cleveland Browns have made one of the smartest picks of the draft. I think we're both really high on this pick for Cleveland, and I think it's going to have pretty big implications going forward for them.
Yeah, Miles, I think this is a really great job by the Browns organization. Great pickup here that we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, talking about a new addition to the Cleveland Browns, there's a lot of new additions. Obviously, the NFL draft is just wrapping up. Give us your favorite pick, Cleveland Browns fans, throughout this entire 2023 NFL draft that the Browns made in the comment section below. The best pick you think the Browns made all weekend. Make sure you put it in the comments. And please stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear a word from the partner of today's video, and that is Neuro. But all right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest with Cleveland?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's a pretty easy question there today because the Browns made an absolutely stellar pick at 111th overall. I'm going to bring up the text here. It says at number 111, the Browns have taken Ohio State offensive tackle DeJuan Jones. Although the pre-draft process was tough on Jones and he was also potentially downgraded by some teams due to a medical concern, the fact of the matter is, Nick, he's 6'8", 370 plus pounds with an 88-inch wingspan, and he did not allow a single sack last season. This is an extremely high upside addition for the Browns in round number 4. Nick, I love this pick. This guy is just absolutely monstrous. Did not allow a single sack last year. He seems like a heck of a player playing on Ohio State, playing at the highest level of competition. This guy seems like a complete dog for the Cleveland Browns dog pound. He's a great addition for them there. What do you think about the Browns getting DeJuan Jones in such a late part of the draft? A guy who, I want to add, was potentially as highly touted as a late first round pick at the start of this draft.
Yeah, I think it's an outstanding job by Cleveland. Look, at value alone, like you alluded to, Miles, this was a guy a lot of people thought could potentially move into the latter part of the first round. Definitely was going to be a round 2 guy at worst. Instead, they get him here all the way on day 3. On value alone, this is a great job by the Browns. But Miles, I'm going to take a step back in here. I'm going to come up with a new theory. I'm going to call it the Orlando Brown syndrome when it comes to these scouts evaluating collegiate offensive linemen. They seem to not like players who are actually good at football, but they look ugly doing it. Right? Orlando Brown didn't have the great body, didn't always have the great feet, didn't always look great, didn't have the beautiful technique and things like that. But he was just a great player at Oklahoma and went on to do amazing things in the NFL. You have a guy here in Jones at Ohio State is exactly the same kind of mold. Look, this guy is massive. He kind of lumbers a little bit, doesn't wow you with his athleticism. You know, one of the strikes against him, if you look at his scouting report according to NFL.com, they talk about like, oh, he sometimes misses with his initial punch. He tends to overset with his heels too close together. Hands can be mistimed, things like that. I'm like, I don't care. Is the guy good at football? And the answer is yes, he's extremely good at football at the highest level. 0 sacks at Ohio State, like you alluded to. Second team All-American last year. Obviously, he was paired with Johnson as his other Paris Johnson, the guy who went very early in this draft. On the other side was a left tackle. So they had 2 bookend guys that C.J. Stroud had to rely on for Ohio State. We saw how good Stroud did in this offense. So you know this guy is good at football. You know he has the experience, he has the size. But for whatever reason, just because he just doesn't look graceful, just because he doesn't look fluid, a lot of teams just don't like him. I just think that's just downright stupid. He is such a good football player. I watched film on him. I couldn't believe he fell to the 4th round. I had to watch a few minutes of his film at Ohio State, and he's just a monster. He's just doing everything right. He's got big physical presence, makes all the blocks, great in pass pro, run block. He can pull from the tackle position. He can get out in space and screens. He can literally do everything. He just doesn't look good doing it. He'll demolish a defender. He'll do a great job protecting the quarterback. He just looks ugly with his form and things like that. Not that he has terrible technique. It just doesn't look good. And for that alone, I think a lot of scouts really missed on this guy, and credit to Cleveland for pouncing on him at 111. I think this is a great pick by the Browns.
Yeah, Nick, if we go through his draft profile just a little bit more, you see the cons on him. You know, he maybe doesn't have the prettiest footwork. He might be, a little bit cumbersome because at 6'8", 370 pounds, who's not going to be a little bit cumbersome? But when you look at his pros, I mean, the size, obviously, a huge pro there. He has very powerful hands, a really good first step, a ability to knock people off the ball. And finally, the last thing is the thing I like the most about him. He's a student of the game who understands his own limitations and really adjusts to that accordingly. So this is a guy, he knows how big he is. He knows he's not going to beat you in a track race or anything like that, but he knows what he is good at. He's huge, he's powerful. He's going to play to his strengths, and that's why I think he's going to be successful in the NFL with the Browns, because he is the absolute opposite. We hear about a lot of like maybe corners or something like, ooh, this guy's too small, too something else. He's gonna have to, maybe use speed or catch up or smarts. This guy is too big, but not too big. He's just oversized, and he's gonna have to use his size to his advantage, which is something that not many people are able to do in an NFL level game.
And the fact that he's so smart and so savvy, I mean, you can see it when you watch this guy for 2 minutes. He understands angles. And that is such the key to offensive line play, is putting your body in between the ball carrier or quarterback and the defender. And that's all angles. That's all geometry. That's all figuring it out. It doesn't matter about your hand placement or your footwork, to the point, as long as you can get there in between the defender and the ball carrier. The footwork helps, but if you have the size and the natural ability and the savviness to get there anyway, it doesn't matter. Look at Trent Williams. He's an amazing tackle. He has terrible footwork. You look at Tyron Smith. He misses literally every punch for the Dallas Cowboys. He's a great tackle. Orlando Brown looks absolutely atrocious if you watch him play in terms of just graceful and athleticism and things like that. He's a big lumbering guy. He's amazing. I think we got a guy here in Jones out of Ohio State University who falls right into that similar mold. I think he's going to be outstanding for the Cleveland Browns. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big time game winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.